Being there for your toddler probably looks a little bit different for all of us. It's hard to watch anyone we care about struggle, but there's nothing quite like the pain of watching our toddler go through something hard. We're responsible for this tiny human and we love them more than anything. And so naturally, we're going to want to protect them from anything unpleasant. I mean, that is our job, isn't it? The story of the three bears is going to come in handy today as we figure this out. Hello, I'm Cassie from Custom Built Parenthood. I do have 3 kids. I have a 2-year-old boy, a 5-year-old boy, and a 7-year-old girl. And I've officially decided that parenting is the trickiest thing ever. It tests us past our breaking point, so I'm always looking for solutions and reliable information that will help me and my kids. If you are looking for parenting to feel a little bit more manageable, I would love for you to subscribe to my channel, hit that notification bell, and I would just be really excited to have you. So there are many times when you probably feel the need to rescue your toddler. They're only a few years old and a couple feet tall after all, so today we're going to look at 3 categories when we might feel inclined to step in. When our toddler is struggling, when our toddler has failed, or when they're feeling sad. So we'll talk about each of these using a bunch of scenarios, and the focus is going to be on how to be there for them without depriving them of learning and development. This is where the 3 bears come in. So when we think our toddler needs us to step in, we're going to look for the just right response. We all know the story, right? Goldilocks starts at the Papa Bear's chair, but it's too hard. So this is going to represent being a dismissive parent that minimizes, criticizes or shames, or distances from their child. Basically, unwanted tough love is how we're going to look at that. Next, Goldilocks tries the Mama Bear's chair, but it's too soft. This is going to represent the helicopter parent who's too involved in their child's life and just swoops in to rescue and handle their problems for them. They're going to hover, overreact, and meddle in their child's life. Then Goldilocks settles on the Baby Bear's chair, which is just right. This represents the sweet spot, a parent who is aware and connected to their child, ready to help and comfort, while also letting them experience life's lessons. They're going to observe, connect, and empower. So those are our 3 options of how to respond to our toddler in a time of need. Let's dive right in with some real-life scenarios. First, let's talk about letting your toddler struggle. Your toddler wants independence. They are so curious about what they're capable of, and they just want to be a big kid, which usually means they don't want help at all. So often, our toddler is really trying to accomplish something, and it's hard, like probably too hard. They're pretty limited in their abilities, so it's going to be tough for us as parents to sit back and watch, but that's exactly what we're needing to do. This category of struggling comes before the category of failing, so they're not in distress, they're not asking for help, or even having a tantrum out of frustration. They're simply trying to do something. So let's say your toddler's working on a tower and it is a struggle. A dismissive parent probably wants nothing to do with it, or they may be overly critical about how their toddler is building that tower. A helicopter parent is going to take over and fix without an invitation. Or they may insist on putting the blocks away before their child gets upset. A just right parent is going to be aware of what their toddler is doing and feeling, close enough to offer a smile or a comment like, "You're working so hard on that tower." Your toddler's trying to zip up their jacket and it is a struggle. Papa Bear response may be rolling their eyes or saying, "That's going to take you forever." Mama Bear response is insisting on doing it for their child. In fact, they may have not even ever let their toddler try to put it on by themselves. The Baby Bear response is to watch and just enjoy the cuteness of your toddler. Okay, toddler is climbing into their car seat and then trying to get themselves buckled, and it is a struggle. A Papa Bear's response would be barking at our toddler that they're taking too long, or maybe even name calling like slowpoke. A Mama Bear response would be telling our toddler that they can't do it, or maybe even panicking and telling them that it's not safe to be climbing on things. A Baby Bear response is going to be present, making sure that your toddler stays safe and feels empowered. Your toddler is learning to ride a bike, and a dismissive parent might be refusing to help as they sit back and insist that their toddler just figures it out. A helicopter parent hovers endlessly, nervously talking their toddler's ear off about every little thing that they need to be doing. A just right parent lets their toddler take the lead. They'll assist as needed and teach their toddler to just do what they feel comfortable with. So those are a lot of examples, and I definitely don't want to downplay how excruciating it can be watching our toddler attempt to do something that we could do in like 2 seconds for them. Equally as hard is learning to let go a bit and knowing that our toddler might get frustrated or even a little bit hurt. The payoff, though, is huge as we raise capable and confident kids who feel comfortable trying and sometimes failing. At some point, letting your toddler struggle turns into letting your toddler fail. Quite often, the struggle will conquer your toddler. They've tried and they have failed. So they're now either asking for help or throwing a fit, or time's up and we gotta get this show on the road. I do have a whole video talking about what to do if your toddler is getting frustrated easily. It's just a step-by-step approach to responding to their frustration. For today, though, we're just nailing down the just right way to let our toddler fail. So let's say the example, your toddler's tower crashes to the ground. The Papa Bear approach could be saying something like, "You don't need to be upset, it's just a toy." Or, "I told you it would fall down if you built it that high." The Mama Bear approach could be rushing in and overreacting. "Are you okay? Did that tower fall on you? Oh, I bet that was so scary. Are you okay? Did it hurt you?" This type of reaction sends the message to your kid that they should overreact and seek for that kind of attention. A just right approach requires simply observing and gauging your toddler's emotions. Crash might be all that it takes to make light of the situation. Or if they're really upset, you could narrate what just happened. "You worked so hard on that tower and it fell down. That is really disappointing. Should we build another one together?" See how this uses what you're noticing in your kid's reaction and just puts it into words? This validates what they're feeling and lets them know that you're here for them. Your toddler's freaking out that they can't zip up their jacket. A dismissive parent could say, "Why do you always insist on doing things yourself? You're just never going to be able to do that." A helicopter parent could say, "Oh, honey, you're just a little too young for this type of thing. You need my help. Let me do it." A just right approach could be, "You really want to zip up your jacket? That's really tough, huh? You want me to help you get it started, or do you want to just leave it unzipped?" Your toddler is in her car seat but can't get herself buckled. A dismissive parent could say, "Stop crying. I'm so tired of you getting upset over everything." A helicopter parent could say, "It makes me so nervous when you climb up there by yourself. Please don't do that to me." A just right parent could say, "You're such a big girl to get up there all by yourself. That buckle's pretty tricky. You want me to help you with it?" Your toddler tips over on their bike. A dismissive parent might say, "Don't be a baby, just get up and try again." A helicopter parent probably wouldn't have let such a thing happen, but if somehow they did, they would probably frantically rush up to them as an ambulance, and maybe in tears that they let that happen to their poor baby. A just right approach would just be to observe and figure out what's needed. Maybe offering a helping hand to lift the bike up is all that it takes, or maybe offering a comforting hug until they're ready to get back at it. The main thing we're doing as the just right parent is always being willing to help and be there for our toddler while also empowering them to gain skills. So as a general rule, we want to give the bare minimum amount of help and let them take it the rest of the way. So remember that whole message. I'm right here. You've got this. So our last category is letting our toddler be sad. Often our toddler is sad due to circumstances that are beyond their control. And all we want as their parent is just to make the sadness go away. We either feel really bad for them, or we want to cheer them up and distract them from what's going on, or maybe even get justice. My best advice in these situations is to let your child feel the feeling, which I talked a ton about in the same frustration video, and remind yourself that the world does not and should not revolve around your toddler. So let's say somebody takes your toddler's toy. A dismissive parent is going to minimize, shame, or distance. This issue is just not worth their energy, so that's the message they'll be sending their toddler. A helicopter parent is going to get in the middle of that issue and do whatever it takes to get that toy back in their toddler's hands. A just right parent is going to just kind of watch and see. If their toddler's good, they'll sit back and do nothing. If their toddler is in distress, they're going to be present and talk them through what they're feeling. Ultimately, the goal is to let their toddler handle their own problem, which could look like coaching them through what to say to the child that took their toy, or just problem solving about like finding a new toy to play with or to get busy with something else so that they're not feeling sad anymore. Next scenario is that mommy or daddy is leaving for the evening and the toddler is beside himself. A papa bear will say, "Oh my gosh, you don't need to cry, I'm staying here with you." Or mama bear is going to maybe cancel leaving if they're the one leaving somewhere, or if they're the one staying, they'll immediately offer treats or a new toy if they'll stop crying. A just right parent is going to validate the emotions and help their toddler move forward. "You're feeling so sad that daddy has to leave. It's okay to be sad. Should we go outside and wave to him?" Or, "You're really sad mommy's leaving. I'll miss you too, but I'll be really excited to see you in the morning." They are staying firm on the boundary. They're not changing their plans, but they are addressing their child and helping them through that emotion. So let's say your toddler is excluded from play. A dismissive parent might tell their toddler, "It's no big deal. Just go find your own thing to play." A helicopter parent will rush to the rescue, promising to fix it and probably give a lecture to all of the kids that are excluding them about how important it is to include everybody. A just right parent might ask how it made them feel to be left out and prompt them to problem solve about what to do about it. Okay, what about if somebody pushes your toddler? A papa bear insists, "Oh, you're fine." A mama bear is going to seek justice from the other child or that child's parent, perhaps, or be overly dramatic, putting words into their toddler's mouth about how hurt they are. A just right parent is going to observe their toddler, show empathy if they're upset, and come up with some ideas about how they'd like to move forward. Okay, another scenario, it's bedtime and your toddler is not interested in bedtime. A dismissive parent might say, "Stop whining and brush your teeth. You make me so mad when you act like that." A helicopter parent might say, "You just want to stay up with me, huh? Let's go pick another puzzle to do together and we'll do bedtime later." The just right parent might say, "You really want to keep playing. It's time for bed. Do you want to put your jammies on first or brush your teeth?" These are the ABCs that I've talked about in my tantrums video that I will link if you missed that. So I'm hoping now that we've gone through so many examples, it's pretty clear what the dismissive papa bear response is compared to the helicopter mama bear response, and then the just right baby bear response. Dismissive parents minimize, criticize, or distance, forcing their toddler to handle their problems on their own. A helicopter parent hovers, overreacts, and meddles in their child's life. And the just right parent observes, connects, and empowers. So with that understanding, ask yourself, am I a helicopter parent? Or do I tend to be the dismissive parent? Or maybe you're just already nailing the just right response. I'm sure we all tend to sway one way above the other. So if you fall under either of those two categories, I do have a few tips if you notice what your tendency is. So one trick to combating the dismissive tendency is to remind yourself that although you might think that you're toughening your kid up to be able to handle their own problems by being dismissive, you're actually abandoning them and making them feel bad about themselves or making them afraid to try. Then I have 2 tricks for anyone out there with the helicopter tendency. Make sure that you establish your own identity beyond that of being a parent, meaning you internalize the fact that your toddler is a separate human being. That way you can simply observe their feelings instead of absorb them. That applies to feeling wronged when someone wrongs them or feeling offended by a choice that your toddler makes. We need to make that distinction and realize that our kids are precious but not fragile. So when we bubble wrap them, we actually make them more fragile because they're less capable. The real key of the just right response is letting our toddler live their life. Of course, they're little and they need a ton of help, but really, if we're treating them as worthless or helpless, it will become a self-fulfilling prophecy, and I don't think we'll be too thrilled with the end result. You are all doing wonderful. Just keep doing your best, and we'll see you next time.